Welcome to the February 2015 legislative meeting of the Media Borough Council. Welcome to all of you who are here on a very, very cold night. But we have some things to do here tonight that I think are going to warm a lot of people and warm them very deeply. So before we get going, let's, as we always do, stand and pledge allegiance to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. I'll allow Dave to pan the room. We do have quite a few people here. Our first item will be to ratify a vote that we took in executive session 2 weeks ago. And so I'll turn this over to Vice President Robinson since it is part of his agenda.
Yes, good evening, everybody. As the President said, thank you very much for coming out on this extremely cold evening. This truly is a privilege and an honor to make this motion this evening. As I've referenced in the past, we, the residents and the businesses of this borough, are very, very fortunate and blessed to have the police department that we have. Every police officer we have would make an outstanding sergeant, lieutenant, captain, and chief in any other department. But this council was only able to promote one. And with that, as the President referenced, this was discussed and voted on in executive session. That is required under law. And at this point, I'd like to motion that we ratify our vote to appoint Patrolman Robert Brown to the rank of Sergeant in the Media Borough Police Department. That is in the form of a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I will call the question. All those who favor ratifying our vote to promote Robert Brown from officer to sergeant, please say aye.
Yes.
Aye. Those opposed, please say nay. The motion passes unanimously.
Congratulations, Sergeant Brown. Please come up.
Before we do the swearing in, I'd like to turn it over to Marty Wasinick, who's reluctant to say a few words, but he's going to say a few words, and I think introduce people. I got it, Marty.
Joanne, I want the record to reflect that when they were saying aye, his mom also said aye.
Of course.
Mr. Brown, thank you. Real quickly, I'm going to try to go around the room and introduce those that are in attendance tonight. John McCormick, Media Police Department. Let me find the media guys first. Danny DeVito, Media Police. Craig Nolan, Sergeant Longbottom, Sergeant Egan. Where are we at? Oh, Officer Young, Nicky Young, Sergeant Carroll, Officer Bellucci, Officer Light, Officer Gavin. I'm missing anyone? We got some short guys, I don't know if they're here. Who else we got here? From neighboring agency, Sergeant Stufflick from Swarthmore Borough. From the Nether Providence Police Department, over here, where we go? Sarge, what's your name?
Montgomery.
Sergeant Montgomery, Officer Smith, Officer Sweeney, Officer Coverdale. You can raise your hand. Thank you, sir. From the, there we go, Officer Bonas. Raise your hand, Brian. From the Upper Providence Township Police Department, Chief David Montella, Corporal Larry Baker. We're looking around here. Formerly from the Upper Providence Township Police Department, recently retired lieutenant from the Delaware County Criminal Investigations Division, presently a certified licensed private investigator in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. So if anybody wants to follow somebody around tonight, please see my good friend Charlie List. Charlie. We're also blessed to have a former lieutenant from our Criminal Investigations Division in the District Attorney's Office. Left us all alone here in Dominican County. Special Agent in charge with the Attorney General's Office, Dave Pfeiffer. Dave, thanks for coming. From the District Attorney's Office, Chief Deputy District Attorney Jeff Payne. Jeff, I just promoted you, and that's on record. Am I missing anyone? I don't think so. With that, I have a call on the mayor to do the honors of swearing in. Wendy, you want to help and hold the Bible?
Okay, repeat after me. I, Robert Brown,
I, Robert Brown,
being duly appointed as a police sergeant
being duly appointed as a police sergeant
in Media Borough,
in Media Borough,
Delaware County,
Delaware County,
Commonwealth of Pennsylvania,
Commonwealth of Pennsylvania,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support,
that I will support,
obey, and defend
obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution and laws of
the Constitution and laws of
the Commonwealth of
the
Pennsylvania,
Commonwealth of Pennsylvania,
and the ordinances
and the ordinances
of
of
Media Borough.
Media Borough.
I swear.
Okay.
I swear
I swear
that I will uphold,
that I will uphold,
obey,
obey,
and enforce
and enforce
the law
the law
without consideration
without consideration
to a person's race,
to a person's race,
color,
color,
sex,
sex,
religious creed,
religious creed,
sexual orientation,
sexual orientation,
age,
age,
national origin,
national origin,
ancestry,
ancestry,
handicap, or disability.
handicap, or disability.
I will adhere
I will adhere
to the guiding
to
principles
the guiding principles
of integrity,
integrity,
professionalism,
professionalism,
and respect.
and respect.
I will perform the duties
I will perform the duties
of police sergeant
of police sergeant
with fidelity
with fidelity
and honor
and honor
to the best of my abilities,
to the best of my abilities,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Only two more paragraphs. No, I'm kidding.
Go ahead and stay.
There we go.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome to say something or not?
You should say something, and you should also introduce your guests and your family members that are here.
Well, everybody knows my wife Wendy for over 20 years. We've married. My wife Wendy for 20 years, over 20 years we've been married. Had a lot of love and laughs. Usually her pointing to me and laughing, but we laugh a lot. Thank you for everything. I got my two sons here, Cody and Jake. Very proud of the boys. You guys have grown up to be fine young men. My mom and dad, thank you for having me. Without you guys, none of this would be possible. My older brother Dave, my brother-in-law Bill, my favorite niece Brianne, and my sister Joanne. I want to thank everybody for being here. Thank the council for giving me the opportunity to serve as a sergeant in Borough. I want to thank Chief for being a great leader and good friend. Thank you, Chief. All the guys I work with, I think of you as family. You guys make it fun to come to work mostly every day. It's very proud of everybody here, or for everybody. We're a very dedicated department, a very professional department. Also, the surrounding departments, we have some great departments surround us. I want to thank them for all the backup and friendship over the years. In this type of job, it's nice to know if you need help, these guys will be here for you. We have each other's backs. So I want to thank you for that. And that's all.
Thank you, Rob. Last word, and thank you to all the officers from the immediate police department that came and all other law enforcement personnel that are here tonight. I think it's just great for the support. So thank you very much. Oh, I didn't know you wanted to.
I know that Councilman Robinson in his email gave me 15 minutes. We have not exceeded that yet.
Getting close.
We do appreciate your time. We know your agenda is very busy. Real quickly, I'd like to, on behalf of the department, give Wendy a bouquet of flowers. And we would also, at the request of Karen Rapino, Carol, Mrs. Brown, Mom, would you mind to come up? This is from the members of the immediate police department.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
And just a point of clarification for the minutes, Sergeant, I have no friends. I want no friends. Friends always want something from you.
All right, so thank you very much, everyone, for your show of support. Congratulations again, Sergeant Brown. Let us take a 2-minute break, and those who wish to take some photographs may do so. After a couple minutes, we'll come back and we'll proceed with the rest of our agenda. Thank you very much. Good evening. We are back. Now Sergeant Brown has had the opportunity to have his picture taken with everybody and anybody. But it's a wonderful moment. It does warm us on this very cold night. So let us go into our regular agenda. We'll begin with approval of minutes. We have 2 sets of minutes to approve, at least discuss approval. We have our workshop meeting minutes of January of 2015. Do I hear a motion to approve those minutes as submitted?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
The motion's been seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those who favor approving the workshop meeting minutes for January 8, 2015 as submitted, please say aye.
Yes. Aye.
Aye. The motion passes. Second set of minutes is from our council meeting of January 2015. Do I hear a motion to approve those minutes as submitted?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those who favor approving the council meeting minutes for January 15, 2015, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion passes. All right, we now have public comment and privilege of the floor. If there's anyone here who wishes to address council at this time, please come to the microphone, identify yourself by name and where you live.
Letitia Jevons, 216 North Monroe Street. Recently I was out with someone I know from another province, and he said, you know what media needs? Free parking. And I noticed that by our ordinance, we don't enforce parking meters on Sunday, and I've been told, and I haven't noticed them working, that the meter maids don't necessarily seem to work on Saturday either.
Now the secret's out.
But free parking on weekends does us no good if no one knows about it. I would like to know why.
Because it's not free parking.
If we have suspended the meters on weekends or even just on Sunday, why that is not more widely advertised to draw business into media.
You want to take this, Paul? You want me to?
Well, I think, one, we are looking at having enforcement on the weekends and in the evenings. It's been discussed numerous times. There's also on the agenda this evening changing the fines for our parking. Historically, we have not had meter parking enforcement people on weekends, but that has been discussed numerous times, the same way that we've discussed other things, and there is the chance that they will come in, that we will start to have parking enforcement people working the weekends. The main reason is so that we do have a changeover of parking. If you have free meters all the time, then people will come in, mainly staff and employees, and park and make it more difficult for the people that really need to come in and use our retail businesses. I don't see very often where someone comes in to purchase or to use our services that would need to park, 6, 7, 8 hours. So part of it is to have a rollover and a changeover of parking. So just because there's, you use the idea that there's not a a parking enforcement officer out there, there's not necessarily a police officer next to every speed limit sign, but you're still required and supposed to follow the ordinance. So,
Well, I'm going to second what you said in that if a customer can pull up right in front of the store or within a couple of parking spots of the store, they're more apt to do it. So that's why we always hold open the possibility, as Paul said, to have enforcement on Saturday. Most stores are not open on Sunday, so that probably wouldn't be the case. But we're trying to encourage more people to shop. And those people that are shopping, going retail, or doing whatever, are usually here and gone within 2 or 3 hours. Unless they're going to the show. That's the only other reason they would be parked there for that long.
All right, I think we've had quite comprehensive answers to your questions. See what a small question, but that can provoke. Does anyone else wish to address council at this time? If so, please come to the microphone, identify yourselves. All right, we'll then move on to the engineer's report. Mr. Johnston.
Good evening. Report for month of January 2015. We are just about complete for the 2015 road resurfacing. We're working with Aqua. They provided us with the roads that they're going to do the water main replacement. Pico Gas did that also. I need to find out with Mr. Smith. Aqua's made a proposal for some road overlay to allow the borough to do some road overlay instead of Aqua for some financial, just the Aqua will pay the boroughs financially for some of the overlays. So we need that just came in this week. Went to a site meeting on the 3rd Street Bridge to review some soil erosion conditions. We did one plan review for 1214 West State Street. We completed and transmitted the operations maintenance manual for the Olive Street Garage and closeout paperwork. And with Hoopman Park, we're finishing up what needs to be done. As soon as the weather cooperates, even more will be done. It's just that things cannot be installed in this cold. It does have a susceptibility to breakage at this time. And that's my short report.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Does anyone have any questions for our engineer? Hearing none. We unfortunately do not have our solicitor here tonight.
I can say what he usually does.
The solicitor's report generally is fairly succinct. Mr. Scott is here later on this evening, we will return to his portion of the agenda. I understand that there's a family issue to which he's attending. We'll then move on to the mayor's report.
Yes, attached during the month of January, there were 643 complaints. And as reported last month at the January meeting, we did have a burglary on Tuesday, January 13th. Two juveniles have been arrested in this case. I'm not going to read the whole thing like I did in January, but basically one of the juveniles asked the people at the property if he could hide there, and they weren't fond of that idea. And subsequently, the investigation led to the identity of a second juvenile who was later turned in by an adult family member. There have been a few recent cases where someone has been entering unlocked vehicles and stealing loose change and other small items. So please always lock your doors at home and lock your car. And the chief says again, see it, hear it, report it to, or call 911. I have a proclamation. Is anybody here representing George Anthony tonight? I don't think so. I'm going to read it anyway. George is a longtime friend. He's a veteran of World War II, has quite a history, military history. And it's basically a proclamation recognizing the 70th wedding anniversary of George and Dolores Anthony, who lives over on 2nd Street. Whereas one of the privileges of the Office of Mayor is to recognize and honor outstanding citizens of our community, and whereas today is my privilege to honor George and Dolores Anthony on the occasion of their 70th wedding anniversary, now be it resolved, the Borough Media extends our sincere congratulations and best wishes to George and Dolores Anthony on their 70th anniversary, so.
70 years. Congratulations. That deserves a
That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Does anyone have any questions for the mayor? Hearing none, we'll move into our council committee reports. We'll take something out of order here tonight since we have some folks here who are present for an item that is under my portion of the agenda. It's number 1 under section D. This is ordinance 1116, gateway amendments to zoning code along West Baltimore Avenue. This is an item that council has been looking at since the summertime. The concept is, what we're doing is we're revisiting our zoning code as it applies to West Baltimore Avenue. Dave, I don't know if you can catch any of that. But what this proposed ordinance is intended to do is to increase our flexibility with regard to allowing residential development on the west end of Baltimore Avenue. I think that all of us who have been down to West Baltimore Avenue over the years see that it does need some attention. It has lagged behind the rest of the borough in terms of development. There is increasing interest to develop that area. And in order to encourage residential development, this ordinance will permit more types of residential developments to be built in 2 districts. One is called Gateway Number 1, which does not show on the map that we have. Gateway Number 1 is a series of parcels, one of which is one of which sits the Briggs Tavern. If anybody remembers the Briggs Tavern, it's still there. In fact, it's where the scuba shop formerly was. The building is still there. Gateway 1 also will encompass 2 areas of land at the intersection of Lemon and Baltimore. The idea behind Gateway Number 1 is essentially to permit townhomes and twins, which are currently not permitted there, and also to apply certain design standards to those types of buildings. Gateway Number 2 is the area that is in yellow on the map, and Gateway Number 2 will allow a larger size, I should say, a taller development of multi-unit dwellings, in other words, apartments. At the present time, apartment buildings are permitted in this area. They are permitted to be up to 55 feet tall, which is roughly 5 stories. They're also permitted to come up to almost the sidewalk. So if you think about 5 stories going straight up from the sidewalk, that's what our ordinance currently permits. We think that there are better ways of approaching this, and the amendment to the ordinance will allow slightly taller buildings, up to 65 feet tall, or 6 stories, but set back significantly farther from the street edge, 25 feet to 30 feet. There's some undulation of the facade that's permitted. The top story actually is set back farther from the rest of the building, so it has that effect, a little bit of a layering effect. So we as council have been working on this for the past several months, and in addition to that amendment to the code, there are also design standards that would apply that speak to such things as green space, other types of amenities that would need to be part of any such project. So, in thinking about this project, and also having heard from a number of residents who live across the street, we have crafted this ordinance in such a way that will soften the impact of this building, if there is a building to be built there. That will also encourage a significant resident component where there currently is not a resident component. I'm going to make the motion tonight that we approve the ordinance as it is written. And I will make that in the form of a motion.
Motion is made. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Motion is made and second. Is there any discussion with regards to the motion? I would like to just chime in a little bit that, we had a public hearing a week ago about then, and we had another public hearing where we had a meeting with the local residents a week ago, then we had a public hearing this evening. And I think the only question that was really brought up of concern was the difference between a 5-story and a 6-story. And I think the president made it very clear that, this is an overlay and someone could still come in and just do the 5-story. But I do believe that with this overlay district, it will provide a greater opportunity to work with an applicant if they come forward, and also will be able to provide a more pleasant appearance than what our current code reflects. With any plan, with any change of ordinance, there's always some give and take, and I think we're getting better for what we're giving. So I think it's a good ordinance. It's been looked at by our planning commission and ready for a vote. So all those in favor of approving, yes.
I'd like to make one comment.
There you go.
The ordinance was not just council talking among themselves. We have worked with the town planner, Tom Committa. Tom Committa worked with council a number of years back in connection with some design standards that currently apply to this area, called the TND. And we hired Mr. Committa to take a look at this so that any changes that we make would reflect the spirit of the TND, the traditional neighborhood development. So we've had the benefit of his input on this. In fact, he helped to write this amendment. So I think that this proposed ordinance is something that will be consistent with the spirit of the TND, or the intent of the TND, but also will give us more flexibility to encourage the type of development that will permit things to be built on a more human scale, away from the street, and allow them to fit a little bit better into our streetscape. So, having said that, the motion's been made and seconded.
All those in favor of passing ordinance, anybody else?
Aye.
I want to talk, or I want to, okay. All those in favor? All those in favor of passing ordinance 1116, gateway amendment to the zoning code along West Baltimore Avenue, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
All right. We're going to hopscotch backwards a little bit on our agenda and get to recreation and health. Councilman Boyer.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. A few announcements from Rec. Fortunately, most of the things are going to happen when it's warm out, so it's kind of nice to think about things in the future. First of all, in their February meeting, the Rec board voted to keep Art Brown as president, Donald Trusty as vice president, and then new members, Ellen Wilson-Dilks has been voted in as secretary, and the newest member, Andrea McIntyre, is the treasurer. So if you join Rec, you get put to work, which is a good thing. So those are the new officers. One big upcoming event, aside from Lunch with Easter Bunny, which is the Saturday before Easter, I think that's April 3rd this year. On Friday, what?
Is there an April 4th?
Oh, I don't know. You're better with dates than I. Is that the correct date? It's the Saturday before Easter, so whatever date that is, that's when the Lunch with Easter Bunny will be. I believe the 4th is accurate. On April 24th, which I'm certain is a Friday, I know that because I checked it on my calendar, the annual family dance will be held. Silly Joe and his band will be playing, so consult the website for upcoming tickets. This is traditionally a really great event where families get to come and bring their kids, and there's usually pizza and food, and it's an early time, so it's very family friendly, so keep that in mind. As far as some improvements to the things that Rec kind of oversees, the tot lot right outside the community center here, they're looking into putting in a second picnic table. So they're currently looking at some specifications for that. And then at some point this spring, the tennis courts will be resurfaced, and then we'll get new nets for that. So the Rec board will be overseeing that, and hopefully the tennis courts will be in good shape. One final upcoming event, hopefully, this is in the planning stages, but Ms. Kathy Walper came to the past meeting and is going to try to arrange some cooking classes for kids over the summer. And apparently the classes are age appropriate, they're held for different age groups. So keep your eye out in the upcoming events with the Rec Board to see when that will be held, but hopefully that will happen sometime throughout the summer. The idea being different cooking events for different ages, so the kids can all kind of cook together and do age-appropriate stuff like that. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Any questions for Councilman Boyd? Well, having suspended our disbelief, talking about things to happen in spring and in summertime.
Yes, I'm excited.
Move on to our historic and media business authority, Councilwoman Johnson.
Thank you. I have one announcement. The NBA wanted me to share with you that February 28th, which is next Saturday, there is a celebration of Chinese New Year starting at noon in front of Margaret Quo's restaurant close to State and Jackson. And it will happen rain or shine. There'll be line dancers. And Warren and Margaret Quo are the sponsors of this event. So keep that in mind, next Saturday, the 28th at noon. I also have on my agenda several reappointments of board members to the Media Business Authority. These terms are 3 years, expiring on December 31st, 2017. And the first reappointment, I'd like to make a motion to reappoint Debbie Pitt to the Media Business Authority for a term of 3 years.
Second. Motion is made, it's been seconded. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those who favor reappointing Debbie Pitt to the Media Business Authority for a term of 3 years expiring December 31st, 2017, please say aye.
Aye.
The motion passes.
Thank you. The second is the reappointment of Peter Bendistis.
Bendistis.
Sorry.
That's okay.
To the Media Business Authority for the term of 3 years as well, expiring December 31st, 2017. I make that in the form of a motion.
Is there a second on the motion?
Second.
There is. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor of reappointing Peter Bendistis to the Media Business Authority for a 3-year term, also expiring December 31st, 2017, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion passes.
The third motion I'd like to make is for the reappointment of Warren Quo to the Media Business Authority for the term of 3 years, ending December 31st, 2017.
Motion's been made, it's been seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those who favor reappointing Warren Quo to the Media Business Authority for a 3-year term, expiring December 31st, 2017, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion passes.
Thank you. The last one is the reappointment of Chris Doherty to the Media Business Authority for a term of 3 years, ending December 31st, 2017.
Is there a second on the motion?
Second.
There is. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those who favor reappointing Chris Doherty to the Media Business Authority for a 3-year term, expiring December 31st, 2017, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion passes.
Thank you, that's all I have.
Are there any questions for Councilwoman Lisa Johnson? Hearing none, we'll then move on to property, public safety, public works, and civil service. President Robinson.
Good evening, everybody. I will start out as I usually do, encouraging all the residents and or people who are listening to consider volunteering their services for the media fire department and EMS. They can use firefighters as well as administrative staff. The January fire report is as follows. They have 45 runs, 15 in media, 30 mutual aid, and 7 light manpower. Not sure what that is. The chief also asked that I remind everyone in this cold weather to be very careful with regards to using their fireplace, distributing or disposing of their ashes. More and more people are starting to use wood stoves again, and they're asking that they please be very careful with those. With that, I'll go into the agenda this evening. We did number 1, that is the appointment and ratification of Sergeant Robert Brown to our police department. Number 2, and it's funny that someone was speaking this evening about parking enforcement. This is a motion to ratify the hiring of an additional part-time parking enforcement officer by the name of Norma Neal, and I make that in the form of a motion.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All those who favor ratifying the hiring of Norman Neal as a part-time parking enforcement officer, please say aye.
Yes.
Aye. Those opposed, please say nay. The motion passes.
Next on my agenda is Resolution 2015-01. It's a municipal authorizing the Department of General Services road salt. Believe it or not, we have to enter into our 2015-2016 CoStars contract now with regards to our purchase of salt for next year. Jeff, I'm looking at this, and I know you're going to know the answer, and if you do, you're going to amaze me once again. Do you know what the tonnage that we are looking to purchase?
Yes, it's a minimum of 120 tons at $57.81 per ton.
And we're required to at least purchase 60% of that a bid.
Correct, and we can go to a maximum, which is good news. If we have a real tough winter, they guarantee up to 240.
Correct. This is CoStars is a mutual aid with all different municipalities within the Commonwealth. It's one of the good things that the state does. So this is a good thing. So with that, I make a motion that we enter into the agreement with General Services for the purchase of road salt for the 2015-2016 year.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All those who favor authorizing entering into agreement with the Pennsylvania Department of General Services with regard to purchasing road salt for the 2015-2016 year, please say aye.
Yes.
Aye. Those opposed, please say nay. The motion passes.
Next on the agenda is Resolution 2015-01. This is really a housekeeping order, getting rid of some of our old equipment. We're required under Pennsylvania law to pass this in the form of a resolution. So with this, we are looking to get rid, and we did put these out on Municipid,
Correct.
which is a statewide opportunity for people to come and anywhere in the state and take a look and purchase. So we are going to be getting rid of a 1997 Ford dump truck at a little over $4,000, a 2005 Ford Explorer for $2,600, a 1997 Ford F-250 pickup truck for $875, and a 1997 leaf collector for $825. Make that in the form of a motion.
Is there a second on the motion? Second. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor of ratifying Resolution 2015-01 with regard to the sale of various vehicles, please say aye.
Aye.
Yes.
Aye. Those opposed, please say nay. The motion passes.
And this must just be the evening of talking about parking. This has been discussed numerous times with our parking enforcement group and our public safety. We recognize that we don't want to increase the cost of our meters to allow residents and people to come into the town and use the meters. What we are trying to do here by modifying our existing ordinances is to encourage people to have this turnover. Right now, our fees for parking tickets are, I think, at a regional low, and we're just trying to come up with in the same category as some of our other neighboring communities. So the fees for the parking meters will not change one bit. However, the price for tickets will change significantly. $15 for any ticket paid within the first 24 hours issued, $20 for any ticket paid between 24 and 72 hours after the ticket is issued, $20 $25 for any ticket paid after 72 hours of when the ticket was issued, $35 for illegal parking, and $50 for illegal parking in a handicap zone. I'd make that in a motion to pass Resolution 2015-02.
Is there a second on the motion? Second. There is. Any discussion on the motion?
Yeah, I just want to make a quick comment. As Chair of Finance, I would not want to exclude the possibility of actually looking at increasing the meter fees in the borough if we do need to look for additional revenue. We have not revised our fees for the last 3 years, so I'd like to encourage council to keep an open mind if we have various risks to our annual budget, and I think it's important that we keep that option open.
All right, any other comment? I will note that, as Vice President Robinson has pointed out, this does not have the effect of raising our meter fees, and we should always keep an open mind as to whether or not that's something we wish to do at a later point. But the idea here is to encourage turnover at our meters. It is a fairly well-known practice, and I see some nods in the audience because it's not just me who's heard about it. Fairly well-known practice that folks will park on the street and accept the ticket because it's $5. It's cheaper than going to the garage. This is a way of kind of discouraging that behavior and encouraging the use of the metered parking spaces as they're intended to be used, which is for folks who are coming in and shopping, going to the restaurant, and not parking their car for the entire day. So having said that, unless there's any other call for discussion, I'll call the question. All those in favor of Resolution 2015-02 with regard to increase of parking fines as outlined by Vice President Robinson, please say aye.
Yes.
Aye. Those opposed, please say nay. The motion passes.
Okay, next is Resolution 2015-03. It is an application for county aid. I won't read the entire resolution, but that the Council of the Borough Media hereby makes application to the to the Council of Delaware County for an allocation of county liquid fuels tax funds in the amount of $25,000 to be used for milling and resurfacing of various roads in the borough. That's in the form of a motion.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor adopting Resolution 2015-03 with regard to applying to the county for aid for road resurfacing, please say aye.
Yes.
Aye. Those opposed, please say nay. The motion passes. This is one of those, you gotta be in it to win it.
You gotta be in it to win it. You gotta try. Some years we get it, some years we don't. And it becomes the happy season of mass gathering permits. So let me start with number 7. Mass gathering permit application for the Town Talk newspaper for their spring Super Sunday event. I think we're all aware of that. Sunday, April 12th, 2015, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. That's in the form of a motion.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those who favor approving the mass gathering permit for the Town Talk newspaper Spring Super Sunday, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please say nay. The motion passes.
Next on the agenda is a mass gathering permit application for the Craft Brewers Festival. That is the Iron Hill Festival. The proceeds of that go to the Media Youth Center. And of course, the last several years, the festival has probably generated well over $100,000 for the Youth Center. It's one of these organizations. The Youth Center provides adult staff to come help with the help with the event. And with that, Iron Hill provides all the proceeds to the youth center. It is a great fundraiser. So with that, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the application for the mass gathering permit for Saturday, May 9th, 2015, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. Well, actually, when is the breakdown time? Do we have that?
It's usually over early. I think it is.
Sorry to disrupt your flow.
No.
5 o'clock.
It's over,
5
stops at 5,
Okay.
cleanup is complete by 7.
Okay, very good.
And most of the time, they're open by 6 because it's in their parking lot too. So the quicker they can get it done and over with, the quicker they can get their parking lot back open for the general public.
And Mr. Smith, should we approve that mass gathering permit, a nice timely reminder about our noise ordinance?
I know the owners pretty well. I have that on my to-do list because I know it's been a traditional yearly situation where they first start quiet, then crank it up a little bit, then they get told to turn it back down, and they do so. So,
All right.
Mr. President, I promise you, we'll make sure we remind you.
Excellent. Okay. All right, unless anybody else has any call for discussion, I'll call the question. All those in favor approving the mass gathering permit application for the Craft Brewers Festival, please say aye.
Yes.
Aye. Those opposed, please say nay. The motion passes.
Next is a mass gathering permit application for the Veterans Legacy Memorial Day Parade, Monday, May 25th, 2015, 9 a.m. to noon. Bob Diamond, it's usually not 9 to noon, is it?
Well, parade will be 10.
Breakdown has start time 10, request start is 0900, that's Army talk, right?
That's not, yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah, Army only, not Navy.
Okay.
Exactly.
It's usually not that long. I think everyone in this town pretty well recognizes that the event will probably be more on the lines of 10 to about 11:30.
No, actually, it usually is seriously over by 10:45.
Okay.
It's a much smaller parade than the Veterans Day.
I'm not going to revise the...
We're not going to revise.
No, I
it.
understand that, but I'm...
Short is better. That was in the form of a motion, Mr. President.
Second.
There's a motion that's been seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving the mass gathering permit application for the Veterans Legacy Memorial Day Parade, please say aye.
Yes.
Aye. Those opposed, please say nay. The motion passes.
Next on the list, mass gathering permit application for the Town Talk newspaper's Art and Craft Show, Sunday, June 7th, 2015, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Actually, it starts at 7. The event start time is 9. The event stop time is 4, and then clean up from 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock. That is in the form of a motion.
Second. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing no call for discussion. All those in favor of approving the mass gathering permit application for the Town Talk newspaper's Arts and Crafts Show, please say aye.
Yes.
Aye. Those opposed, please say nay. The motion passes.
And 11 and 12 are somewhat repetitive, but this year, for those that attended, we had a Christmas fun run, and we also had a Christmas parade. The applicant has broken down to 2 different applications, one for the fun run. So I'll make a motion that we approve the mass gathering permit for the application for the media Christmas fun run / walk, Sunday, November 29th, 2015. Setup time is 2:30. The race would be completed by 4:50. That's in the form of a motion.
The motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving the mass gathering permit application for the media Christmas fun run. Early opportunity to work off some of those Thanksgiving calories. Please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, please say nay.
And
Motion
last,
passes.
I'm sorry. And last is the approval, or I make a motion that we approve the mass gathering permit application for the media Christmas parade of 2015, Sunday, November 29th, from 2:30 to 7:30. Let's see the breakdown here. I see the fun run. I'm just trying to figure out why it's to 7:30, but they've said actually event finish time would be, the parade really would be starting around 5. Parts of the town would be shut down at 2:30 for people involved in the parade. The event stop time would be 7, and final breakdown would be 7:30. That's in the form of a motion.
And is there a second?
Second.
There is. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing no call for same. All those who favor approving the mass gathering permit application for the second media Christmas parade, please say aye.
Yes.
Aye. Those opposed, please say nay. The motion passes.
And that concludes my report.
Are there any questions for Vice President Robinson? Hearing none, we'll move on to Community Development Personnel and Media Arts Council. That's my portion of the agenda. Item number 1 we've already voted on. That was in an effort to clear the room of interested parties. There were a few here. Item number 2 is update on 3rd Street Dam. I hope this is not premature. We are still waiting, as I understand it, Mr. Smith, for a signature from PennDOT with regard to the supplemental reimbursement agreement. Do I understand that correctly? We do expect that we'll get that soon. And so the reason why I mention this is because if that indeed happens, and we have no reason to believe that it will not, Perhaps as early as April, we'll have the opportunity to meet with the engineer who's working on the design of the dam. So that'll be the first opportunity for us to get an update on where things stand. So tentatively, we're looking at the April workshop meeting, but that might change depending upon how things develop over the next month, month and a half. Item number 3. This is approval of proposal from the Delaware County Planning Department to finalize a comprehensive plan. Those of you who have been following over the past several months know that we have been working on a comprehensive plan. That plan was funded by a grant money, which is wonderful. But having spent quite a bit of time working on this and getting feedback from members of the community, we understand that there was a need to further tweak it. Tweaking never comes without a price tag. And so we're looking to approve an amount that's slightly less than $4,000, $3,989.05, that would be paid to the Delaware County Planning Department in order to finalize the comprehensive plan. And I hope that that will be done either March or in April. In other words, it'll get us over the finish line. So I make it in the form of a motion that we approve the proposal for the Delaware County Planning Department to finalize the comprehensive plan in that amount of $3,989.05.
Second.
Motion was made and seconded. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the proposal for the Delaware County Planning Department to finalize the Media Borough Comprehensive Plan with the price referenced by the President, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Ayes have it.
All right, item number 4 is a motion to authorize the advertisement of request for proposal for landscaping services. This is in connection with a side yard garden, memorial garden on Veterans Square at the southwest corner of Veterans Square and State Street, across Veterans Square from the PNC Bank. So those of you who are familiar there, well, if you can keep this, if you can put this in your mind's eye, there is a very, very broad sidewalk on the west side of that street. It's just a bare sidewalk. And there has been some thought given over the past year or so to converting some of that sidewalk into a memorial garden. A place where people can sit that provides some shade, some relief from the heat. And also would provide some storm water, some mediation as well, because the design that we have looked at to date provides for a series of, I'll call them cisterns, that would gather up water and then slowly discharge it. So we'll take some of the water that otherwise would flow down our streets and put it to better use. So the motion here is to approve, is to get some proposals from landscape architects or from engineers in order to design that project. So I make it in the form of a motion that we authorize advertisement for request for proposal for those landscaping services.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded to authorize the advertisement to go out to RFP for landscaping services with regards to the memorial garden at Veterans Square. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Ayes have it.
And I am very excited by number 4. I am equally excited by number 5. Recently, the Philadelphia Museum of Art has come to the borough with a proposal. It is a proposal that reflects the success of a program in Detroit. The Detroit Art Museum, over the past, I think it's the past year, within the past couple of years at least, has a program that was designed to bring art to the people. And what they did is they made replicas, full-size replicas in many cases, of various of their holdings, pictures. These are pictures that are designed to withstand the elements, and they placed them throughout the city with information about the paintings. And the idea was to advertise the holdings of the museum as well as to get more people engaged in the arts. The Philadelphia Museum of Arts has recognized that that was a very successful program in Detroit, and why wouldn't it work here in Philadelphia? So they have selected a few communities to hold a similar type of program, and they've selected media. So the idea is that they will install up to 15 different pieces of artwork throughout the borough, temporary installations. They are working with the Media Arts Council to identify 15 sites. The art museum will absorb all costs, all liabilities. We just have to sit back and admire. This is a wonderful way, I think, of increasing the impact of the arts and media. It's a wonderful way of drawing more people into media, as we can well imagine. There'll be many people who want to come to media just to go visit these 15 different sites. Kind of an art treasure hunt type of approach, I suppose. But it's also a great educational opportunity as well. There are some people who just don't have the opportunity to go to a world-class museum like the Philadelphia Museum of Art, and they're bringing it to media. So what I'm asking here tonight, well, moving here tonight, is that we approve the request of the Philadelphia Museum of Art for what they call their Inside Out program. I think this is approving or authorizing me to sign the document that will allow them to engage the program. Am I correct in that, Mr. Smith?
That's correct.
Okay, excellent. So I'll make it in the form of a motion.
Second.
Motion was made and second. Is there any discussion on the motion? I think one point I would like to say, which I think is really nice here, is so often everything occurs just on State Street. And from what Media Arts Council has provided right now, at least from what I've seen, some of the emails that have gone around, so really looking at places, residential neighborhoods, the ball field, places like that.
5 Points.
5 Points, places all over, so people will have the opportunity to really walk around and get to see things. And there are going to be locations that, many people would not necessarily anticipate fine art to be. So this is really, to me, an exciting opportunity. So, any other discussion? Then I'll call the motion. All those in favor of authorizing our president to enter into an approval agreement with the Philadelphia Art Museum for the Inside Out program, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Ayes have it.
Last item I have for legislative action tonight is with regard to appointments to the Media Planning Commission. The Planning Commission is a group of 7 persons. We appoint them. At the present time, there are 3 openings. 4 occupied seats and 3 unoccupied seats. 2 of them are for unexpired terms. 1, I think, is for an expired term. We have discussed filling those seats the past couple of months here at legislative session. We have requested anyone who is interested to put in their letter of interest to Mr. Smith, and then we would start looking through those and figuring out who is the best fit. So we got an awful lot of responses, and excellent responses. There were a total of 8 persons who threw their hats in the ring. This is unusual. Usually we kind of struggle along looking for someone to volunteer, and their volunteerism does not go unpunished. But we do find that we fill those spots. This time we have almost an embarrassment of riches. We have a lot of people who wish to serve. So this is kind of new territory for us. Normally it's 1-to-1. We have an empty seat and 1 person who's applying, and that seems like a match. In this case, we have 3 seats and 8. So we have to kind of work through those applicants. The approach that I recommended to the Planning Commission was that they conduct a review of those 8 persons with an eye towards who they thought was the best fit in terms of their talents, their temperament, and they did so. The Vice Chair of the Planning Commission, Mike Kinsley, contacted each of those 8 persons. He was asked by the other members of the Planning Commission to do so. He asked a series of questions to all of those persons. He then provided their responses to the rest of the Planning Commission, and then the Planning Commission discussed those persons and their qualifications. The Planning Commission unanimously recommended 3 persons for those positions. They are Dave Petrucci. They are all borough residents. Mr. Petrucci is a traffic engineer. They also recommended Marianne Frederola Salino. And Ms. Federola Salino impressed the Planning Commission as someone who understands that the vision for media, it has to be all-encompassing. You don't just look at residents, you also look at the business, members of the business community as well. And she also brings to the table what I think is kind of a neat attribute. She helps to design facilities for handicap access and ADA and accessibility. And that's something that I think is really important for the Planning Commission to look at up front. It's not only a federal mandate, but it's also forward-thinking. Many of us, I hope all of us, are living longer and longer, and at some point we're going to need some type of assistance to get into and out of places. And wouldn't it be great that we have planning that has that chief in mind? The third person they recommended is Katie Friesen, and Ms. Friesen is an architect. That seems to be a pretty good fit with Planning Commission. I need to stress that all 8 of these persons were excellent candidates, and this was a well-thought-out process by the Planning Commission. They made these recommendations. I'm prepared tonight to move for the appointment of the 3 persons that were recommended by the Planning Commission. After all, those are the people who need to work together. Those are the people that need to come up with decisions. And they need to work as a team. That's when they're most effective. So I'll do these in turn. The first one, this is for the term expiring December 31st, 2017. I'd like to move that we appoint Dave Petrucci, a traffic engineer, to that unexpired term.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Is there any discussion on the motion? I would like to. As we discussed at our workshop, the Planning Commission is probably one of the most important commissions that this borough has. They are an advisory commission to Borough Council, and I think it would be prudent of Borough Council to have the opportunity for council members to interview and talk with the individuals. Resumes, letters of intent, they're all great, but sometimes you can't beat a face-to-face meeting, talking, looking in between the lines. I agree with Brian that everyone who applied would be great individuals. The names that have been presented by the Planning Commission are great. I just think that it is our responsibility to appoint these people instead of having one member that we appointed as an advisor doing the legwork and then giving a recommendation. And what I see here is this is just simply a rubber stamping of what the Planning Commission is looking for. I would ask that we consider tabling this, allow Borough Council to have the opportunity to interview these people, and then vote at a later time. If this was one person, that would be fine. This is 3 new members that could completely change the complexion of the thoughts and positions of the Planning Commission.
All right, well, is that in the form of a motion?
That is,
All right, there's a motion to table, which takes precedence over the pending motion. So in order for us to consider that motion, there needs to be a second. Is there a second on the motion to table?
Second.
Motion's been seconded. Is there any discussion on the motion to table? I'll offer a few words. First of all, we are tonight exercising our responsibility to appoint. The question is, how do we get to that point where we're appointing? I agree with Paul that it's important that the people who are on the Planning Commission, that they be well qualified and that they be good appointments. I submit that the persons who are in the best position to do that are the members of the Planning Commission. They're the ones who know the position. They're the ones who know the need of the body. And frankly, I think that there is a good deal of value to them deciding what the composition of their group is, because at the end of the day, they should not be a rubber stamp for anything, for Media Borough Council. They should be their very own body. I don't think that, I get a little bit concerned when we start choosing the members of such a group, because I think the tendency is, whether we do this deliberately or not, the tendency is to put people in those positions that think like us, that are like us. I think that my concern is that we would lose some diversity of thought. In order to promote that diversity of thought, I'm comfortable with allowing the Planning Commission to make a judgment among these persons as to who best fits their needs. Anyways, those are my thoughts. I don't know if anybody else has any thoughts before the motion is called.
I'd just like to add, that again, I agree with you that they're all qualified individuals. However, they are, I think it's very important that we take a look at who we want to be advising us. Some of these people I don't even know.
And then I'll just one other thought. We all have had these, letters of interest as well as resumes for weeks now. And everyone on this council has been encouraged, if they have any questions about anybody in particular, whether because they thought that somebody was particularly well-suited or somebody was particularly ill-suited, to go ahead, contact them, ask questions, find out, bring it to council. And as of tonight, I don't know that any member of council has. So I don't see that there's any advantage to pushing off to the future, even if it's next month, this decision, because we've got a 7-member body that is 3 persons down. And they are eager to get up to full speed. Anyways.
I have a question. One quick question. So that the person who did the interviewing and made the recommendations, did the rest of the committee meet with the people who were recommended?
So
Because of your statement of think like us and act like us. One, you could have the people who have selected, you're thinking that they will agree with the person who made the recommendation.
Well, I should say that Mike Kinsley conducted this was a decision by the Planning Commission. They decided among themselves that one person should take the lead on this, and they chose Mike Kinsley, who was the vice chair.
Yes, that's fine, but
And I'll get to your points there. And he conducted the interviews and then shared the results of those interviews with the other members. He did not make a recommendation. The other members took that same information, and then each of them decided on their own.
So did they take 10 minutes with each person?
I don't know that they did. They certainly had the opportunity to do so.
Okay.
I'll just finish. There are advisors. I think it's important that we have the opportunity to interview the people that we're looking to advise us, not simply having it based on the interview of one member. And that really comes back to full circle what you were saying is diversity. We have the vice chair interviewing, giving his opinion, and pointing the Planning Commission possibly with who he wants to have serve.
So I thought he made it very clear he did not make a recommendation. He just gave the information to all members of
Brian, with all due respect, you're an attorney. When you give a presentation, you give the presentation of the way in which you want it to be presented. So,
anyway, we do have a motion, and it's a motion to table that has been seconded, so I'll call the question. All those who favor tabling this motion to appoint Dave Petrucci to the Planning Commission, please say aye.
Aye.
3-4. I think that there were 3 votes in favor.
Don't we have to do a name?
We do. So those who oppose the motion to table, please say nay.
Nay.
Nay. Okay, so the motion to table fails. That brings back to the table the original motion, which was to appoint Dave Petrucci to the Planning Commission to fill the unexpired term that ends on December 31st, 2017. So,
motion is made to appoint Dave Petrucci?
yes.
To the Planning Commission. Is there a second to that motion?
I think it's been seconded already.
Motion's made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Ayes have it.
All right, so that's the first of three. I think we'll get to the other two a little bit more quickly since we know what the issues are. The second of the three motions that I plan to make is for the appointment of Maria Frederella Salvino to fill one of the unexpired terms that expires December 31st, 2016.
Second.
Motion been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Can you at least let me wait till I say, is there a motion? Motion is made and seconded for, and again, I don't have these names in front of me.
Ms. Frederella Salvino.
All those, is there any discussion regarding this motion? All those in favor of appointing Ms. Rella, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
The
Ayes have it.
last of these three is with regard to the appointment of Katie Friesen. She's the architect, to fill the unexpired term ending December 31st, 2016. That's for the Planning Commission.
Motion is made. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor of appointing Katie Friesen to the unexpired term on the Planning Commission, please say aye.
Aye.
Yes. Opposed? Ayes have it.
All right, so I just have a couple of announcements. All of them involve Media Arts Council. We've mentioned them already today, and I know that they're already hard at work in identifying sites throughout the borough for the Philadelphia Museum's Inside Out program. They have a couple of events coming up, and they might be of interest to you. March 5, they're having a workshop at 7 p.m. I should say that all of these events are occurring at at the Art Center and Gallery, which is at 609 West State Street. For those of you who don't know where it is, but you do know where Marty's Exxon station is, it's right across West Street, across the street from Best Produce. So on March 5, they're holding a workshop at 7 p.m. This is for iPad tablet art. This is some instruction on how to use your portable device as a drawing and painting tool. These workshops have been very popular, so if you're at all interested, please contact the Media Arts Council. You can go to their website, it's mediaartscouncil.org. That seems pretty straightforward, mediaartscouncil.org, and you'll find the information there. The second event is on second Saturday in March. As we all know, second Saturday has been going now for quite some time. We're over 100 now, 100 second Saturdays. So working towards the second 100. So March 14th, second Saturday, at the Arts Council's gallery, there is a gallery opening. It's the Rose Tree Media School District Art Teachers Exhibit. So if you want to know what the teachers at Rose Tree Media have been up to, see whether or not they actually have any talent, since they're grading your kids and their artistic talent, it's a great time to head on down there and take a look and see what they have. The last item is March 19. I mentioned March 19 because that's our next legislative meeting, so an announcement then will be a little bit untimely. At 7 p.m. on March 19, there is a State Street reading series sponsored by Widener University. Joe Samuel Sarnes, who is a published author, and I understand not self-published, so somebody thinks his work is worthwhile. He will be doing some readings, as well as Tom Coyne, who is authored a book called The Courses of Ireland about golf. So Mr. Sarnes wrote a book called Red Derby, tennis novel, so it's a combination of the literary as well as the athletic. That's March 19th on State Street at 7 p.m. That's all for my report. Are any questions? Hearing none, we'll move on. Mr. Scott, you have arrived. Did you have anything to report tonight?
I do not.
Any questions for Mr. Scott? Okay. We'll then move to Finance, Technology, Library, and Environmental. Councilman Davis.
Thanks, Brian. First up is the payment of bills for the month of January. I'd like to make a motion that we approve all bills paid in January for the following amounts. From the General Fund, $338,420.02. From the Recreation Fund, $3,117.51. no funds from liquid fuels, and from the capital fund, an amount of $162,531.13 for a grand total of $504,068.66. So moved.
Second?
All right, we have a motion to approve the borough's bills for the month of January from the general recreation and capital funds. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing no call for discussion, all those who favor payment of the bills for the month of January 2015, please say aye.
Yes.
Aye. Those opposed, please say nay. All right, motion passes.
Thank you very much. Next up is just a matter of sort of business, is that we already authored and penned a letter supporting the library's RACP grant, which will hopefully bring in up to $750,000 if it is approved. I got a sense of council workshop, and so I'd ask right now that we ratify that in our legislative session. I make a motion that we ratify the library board of directors' letter of support for the RACP grant from the borough.
Is there a second on the motion?
Second.
There is. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those who favor ratifying the request from the library board, the Upper Providence Free Library Board of Directors, for a letter of support for state funding grant, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, please say nay. The motion passes.
Thanks. I have a couple of announcements. First off, the library executive director, Brady Grosso, has unfortunately resigned. We're sorry to lose her. They have put in an interim director from existing staff, and they're therefore looking for a new executive director. So obviously, anyone who's interested in the position should contact the Upper Providence Library Board. You can do so through their website. Second up, the library, as we all know, is raising money for their new construction project. Borough obviously generously supported that project, but they need to fill a gap right now of about $350,000. So through that, they're doing a variety of fundraisers and trying to raise money for the project as it's going on. One of those sort of events coming up next month is the library prom. It's going to be sort of a night where people are going to dress up in their old sort of prom outfits. I personally wore a pink cummerbund with my girlfriend at the time was wearing a pink dress. So I think you can have a lot of fun at this and sort of dress up in a way that we used to. I'm sure actually some people might still have their old tuxedos and prom dresses. And maybe not they'll fit in the So again, the event is Saturday, March 14th from 7 to 10 p.m. It is a fundraiser. It's $75 per person. I think for that you get dinner and drinks. And as you can think about it, you go out to dinner and media, you spend $100 or maybe $120 for a nice dinner out in media. So spend a little bit extra money and help support the library's project. And so I'd encourage all members of council, as well as members of the public, to please check it out. So you can find out on the website, uplibrary.org, or search for the term library prom on Facebook, and you can like them at a minimum. That'd be a nice thing to do.
Do you know where it's located?
Actually, I think it's in the community center.
Okay.
Right across the hall here. So that said, that's the library news. Other news from finance, we are looking at transferring from last year an amount of up to about $450,000, maybe a little bit more than that, into our capital reserve, which is an excellent news that we are financially doing exceptionally last year. In technology, we met a couple weeks ago. Rachel Hetzel is our new technology employee. And I just want to announce to the public that we'll be working on sort of improving the access to using Laserfiche within the Borough complex, working on GeoPlan or another alternative software which will help our staff be able to sort of use geolocation within the borough in sort of a more technological, advanced way of tracking properties and things like that. And then the final piece that we've asked our technology coordinator to look at is disaster recovery, making sure that if something terrible were to happen, that we have all our data backed up and that we've tested those systems and they're all robust. We are doing that now. At this point, we're just asking to make sure they're 100% working and we've tested them. We're also looking in the future making the website more interactive, potentially adding social media down the road. And if anyone's interested, we have our next meeting next month, the second Thursday of April. I'm sorry, not next month, but April 9th at 6 p.m. I encourage anyone to attend or certainly contact me if you have questions. The last thing I'll bring up, which is technology, is there's an app on your iPhone called Public Stuff. This great app, you can go around town, find cracks in the sidewalk, you find someone who doesn't shovel their walk, whatever. You can go around and take a picture, send it straight to the borough. It'll use your geotag on your phone, find out where you are exactly, submit it to the borough manager, and then we'll be able to handle that for you. So check it out. It's called Public Stuff. You can find it in the iPhone App Store as well as the Android equivalent. That's all I can report.
Any questions for Councilman Davidson? Hearing none, we'll move on to Farmers Market.
Excuse me, it was suggested that you didn't vote on the ratification.
We did.
You did? I'm sorry. Okay.
That's okay.
We missed
No sidebar talk.
it. Yeah, sorry.
All right, well, let's move on to Councilman Amy Johnson. Farmers Market, Fair Trade, and Shade Tree. Two items of which seem very, very far away this evening. Shade trees, what are those?
Yeah, right. Thank you. Media Farmers Market had a great meeting last week. I'm really impressed with this committee. They're really passionate, hardworking. They're meeting now twice a month because, believe it or not, the farmers market is less than 3 months away. A reminder that May 14th is the first date of the first market. They had 4 new members in attendance who will be helping out with PR and social media, children's programs and education. And so before we go on to the mass gathering permit for that application, just a reminder to like Media Farmers Market on Facebook. If you go to their website, you can sign up for a newsletter for upcoming news. So make sure to do that. And moving on to, I'd like to make a motion for the mass gathering permit application for the Media Farmers Market, which will happen on Thursdays from May 14th till November 19th, 2015. The market takes place 3 p.m. to 7:30 p.m.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion?
How many vendors do we have, Becky, or Amy? I'm sorry. How many vendors do we have?
I think we're aiming for 25 to 30 vendors. I don't know where we are at the moment.
And how many weeks does the event go? May until...
May 14th to November 19th, so how many weeks? Is that like 28 weeks?
About 30.
30 weeks?
All right, so we've talked about the bat time. What's the bat channel? Where is this going to be held? Is it the same place as always?
Yes, State and Galen, in the parking lot of the Media Theater.
All right, is there a second on the motion?
It's second again.
There is. Okay, good. All right, so we have a motion to approve the mass gathering permit application for the Media's Farmers Market for the 2015 season. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, please say nay. The motion passes.
Fair Trade will be attending the March workshop meeting. They're going to be, for anyone who's interested, they're going to be showing their Fair Trade video and introducing the artists that are involved. Also, they wanted everyone to know that Philly Fair Trade is excited to be close to reaching their goal of making Philadelphia a fair trade city, which is exciting. And that group is working to get to their goal. They actually need to locate just 24 more Philadelphia-based organizations that use at least one fair trade product. So for those of you who work in Philly or know anybody in Philly that could help with that, you can go to their website, fairtradephiladelphia.org. And if you are involved with an organization or work with one that does want to start using fair trade products, go to the website as well. Nothing really to report for Shade Tree except just to echo what Councilman Davidson said. Use your public stuff app for, especially in the weather that we're in right now with heavy winds and ice. If you have any down limbs or limbs that look a little bit scary, use that Public Stuff app. And that concludes my report.
All right, any questions for Councilwoman Amy Johnson?
I just want to reiterate that you still can call the borough if you have potholes and or tree limbs. Phones still work also.
Thank you.
All right. So we'll then proceed to Public Relations and Historical Archives. Councilwoman Dixon.
Hello.
Or should I say,
Okay,
Councilwoman Bertha Kitt.
It's been a long day. Let's see, I'm going to only cover the historical archives. We have the space for the temporary space from the Media Arts Council, and getting more space thanks to our president here for the new facility. And we've got 3 people who applied to the 2 positions that we have available. And so one person does not live in the borough, and the other 2 are such absolutely fabulous, wonderful candidates. And they have met with the rest of the team. And so I offer for appointment to the Historical Archives Commission. Can I use both names at once, or must I go one at a time?
Two separate ones.
Okay, one at a time. Here we go. We're going to go with Adam Levin for a term that ends December 31st, in 2019. That's a 5-year.
Second.
All right.
Thank you.
Motion's been made, it's been seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing no call for discussion. All those who favor appointment of Adam Levine to the Media Historical Archives Commission for a 5-year term that expires December 31st, 2019, please say aye.
Yes.
Aye. Those opposed? The motion passes.
And Walt Kressler, you all know him, you know him well. And he's got a lot of experience, and he's excited about the possibility of working with the archive. So his term would be over December 31st, 2019.
Second.
Motion's been made, it's been seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing no call for discussion. All those in favor of appointing Walt Kressler to a 5-year term at the Media Historical Archives Commission, a term expiring December 31st, 2019, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, please say nay. The motion passes.
And so this young lady who also submitted a resume, Leah Benson, we're going to encourage her strongly to be just a working volunteer with us, and looks like she has accepted that type of position.
Excellent.
So that's all I have to report.
Are there any questions for Councilwoman Dixon?
Is there a limit on the number of people that can be on the board for historical archives?
5 right now, as far as I understand. 5. And this puts it back to 5. But only 1 can be outside of the borough.
Yeah.
And we already have that position. So,
We're full up.
yeah,
Okay.
they've been working shorthanded for about 1.5 years, yeah.
Are there any other questions for Councilwoman Dixon? Hearing none, we'll move on to public comment and privilege of the floor. Our second of 2. Anybody wishes to address council at this time, please do so. Come to the microphone, state your name and where you live.
Letitia Devens, do I have to restate my address?
You can just tell us what street.
Monroe Street. The question I have is, some years around this time, the mayor's report will include a proclamation for Black History Month, some years it won't. I've also noticed some years, about a month from now, it'll include a Women's History Month proclamation, some years it doesn't. Is there any particular reason for that? And the third thing I noticed is that before your March 19th council meeting, it is the time in the century that we get 3/14/15, and I know that's also second Saturday, but is there a reason why either there are no nerds on the Media Business Authority, or no one with bad puns and a good sense of advertising for food to recognize Pi Day, and no one working with the Media Elementary or Rose Tree Media School District, or although it would have to be fifth graders, I guess, to do anything for Pi Day. I mean, because then technically 3, 14, 15 at 9 o'clock.
For those who are not aware, the first 5 digits of pi are 3.1415.
Right.
Okay,
Apple pie.
All right, first of all,
Mr.
Letitia-
Mayor, you have
Letitia,
two of those you can address.
Thank you very much, Letitia, because that is a great advertisement for what I should have said tonight, which is our Veterans Organization produced a film on the Tuskegee Airmen that is featured this month on our website, that is shown throughout schools in Pennsylvania. Not only the full film, which is 40 minutes, about Luther Smith, who was a Grand Marshal back in '05, and the Tuskegee Airmen, but it's also, we have a film clip, 4 minutes of their Congressional Gold Medal up, and we also have several segments. So this is throughout Pennsylvania for Black History Month, and that is there right now for anybody to look at. Secondly, same for Women's History Month. We will have our film, which is 60 minutes, which is the only history of women going back to the Revolutionary War through today, and the 2.5 million women who have served. That will be featured in March, and it will also be in segments. And again, it is throughout Pennsylvania in every school district that is using it. However, during March, I will remember to do a proclamation on Women's History Month, and again remind people that we have these resources so everyone can learn the history of women from that served in the military from the 1700s to today. So thank you, Letitia. I didn't prompt you to do this. I just wanted to note that.
Well, you left out Pi Day.
That was up to you, Mr. President.
Yeah.
I'm caught unaware, but that's the value of a liberal arts education. If anybody out there has any great, wonderful ideas about how we can celebrate Pi Day, mass gathering permit is online. Go right ahead. Submit it. It could be a lot of fun. It could be a lot of fun. All right. Anybody else who wishes to address council at this time?
Motion to adjourn.
Hearing none. All those in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Good night, folks. See you next
Thank you.
month.